Welcome to the Spaces from Spectre and Exception. This is Sir PT from Exception team. Spectre, are you here? Can you talk?
Yes, sir. Here's Sunny from the Spectre team. So glad to be here and looking forward to this one, definitely.
Awesome. Thank you for joining. I can hear you well. So we've set up these spaces to give some introduction to both of our communities. We've spoken for quite often about each other's projects and how we can collaborate and uh, make a better space together. And this spaces is one of the results of that. And ideally, we would have some introductions to both of the projects, and in the spaces will also be showcasing, setting up for the Spectra team some marketception market making tool from the Exception team. Welcome, Sunny from Spectre. Could you start off with a small introduction on Spectre?
Definitely, but one of the first thing I'm gonna do is say personally, I was really looking forward to partnering up with Exception for a long time. So that just has to be said off the bat because I'm nothing but admiring the work you all been doing and the unique tools that you've created. So for me personally, it's an honor and a privilege to be collaborating. So I just wanted to say that right off the bat. But yeah. Um, I'm here. I'm going to introduce Spectra in a few words. There's probably many people that know about Spectre here or Exception, but for those who are obviously new or on looking into our spaces, let me give the introduction then. Spectra, in a nutshell, is AI prediction bot, or that's what originally we created. We have transformed into prediction tools for blockchain, and we currently have our own proprietary Telegram bot that does forecasts predictions on crypto, especially now in the Ethereum, BNB, and Polygon networks. And users can basically input the contract address and select a time frame between 6, 12, 24, and 48 hours to predict the upward, downward trajectory of tokens that they are looking to invest in or they're currently hold. So in general, we are currently in the status of doing short-term predictions. And since our launch, we have expanded exponentially on our vision and a very comprehensive roadmap to not only provide singular market cap predictions on a bot, but to actually facilitate uh, navigating these shallow crypto waters and the volatility by providing more tools for traders in this market. So not only that we are now an AI prediction bot, but in our pipeline and imminent development in phase two, we are now going to be deploying a variety of sentiment analysis features because we realize that sentiment is a huge catalyst for any project's trajectory, meaning any news, any engagement from holders or the market, whether it's on Telegram, Twitter, News, Reddit, so sentiment is very, very important. And with that, we have a few functions called sentiment analysis basic, which is a texted analysis of the project can be caught on Telegram or Twitter. We have a pro version, which kind of enables to follow a certain smart following, where big accounts mention the account without you noticing that. So we kind of cut through the amount of time for people to spend on Telegram or Twitter. Everything is just very concise. And then we're moving on to our ultra functions, where we are creating a world's first X bubble maps for projects and CTs. So in a very visualized, gamified way, people will be able to basically see what is the project endorsement, and our what's the project endorsement, and how visually people will be able to see those connections on projects. So let's say if you have Exception, um, you will be able to see all the, let's say, the big accounts that are following it. So in one single click, you will be able to see in a beautiful visualized manner who is endorsing Exception, and a thousand more bubbles, which would represent more holders. And we're also deploying a very unique kind of first mover sentiment analysis charts, which is sentiment, price action over sentiment, right? So engagement heat map over price action, a huge novelty that will allow people to actually see if a price follows or it doesn't with engagement. So stay tuned for those factors. And just to quickly leapfrog, apart from our AI predictions and sentiment, we're also having our technical analysis department, which we're gonna feature our very own unique TA chatbot, which is intertwined with our scrapping of DEX tools, live candlestick patterns, and indicators, which essentially we will form interpretations. So, in a nutshell, what we are doing is taking very complex data analysis and gamifying it visually for the users to basically navigate this market in a different way. Psychologically speaking, marketing 101, people's attention span is very short. So we're changing the game by providing simplicity while the background is extremely complex. So this is in a nutshell Spectra.
Wow, thank you for that great introduction. And I think on a personal note, I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you when we had a call previously that I was so excited when I learned about Spectra and prediction tools because in 2018 I actually worked with a developer to create a pattern or price prediction tool as well.
Hmm.
And the I had a old mining rig which I used the graphic cards for to train the a machine learning model, and it was not as accurate and basically um, the trying to predict a specific price,
Hmm.
etc. So that was my interest in pattern recognition or price prediction tools using machine learning was very interesting to me. So I got really excited when I noticed that you guys were actually building an AI powered model for that because I think it's very useful in the space,
Yep.
especially if you uh, check at price, for example. That's what traders want,
Yes.
right? They want to either cut through the noise, like you mentioned, dissect the data. There's so much data out there, and that's either on charts, price, sentiment, by posts on Twitter, etc. It's very hard to dissect what data is valuable, and I think that's very powerful if you have an AI powered tool for that.
100% Serbi. And I do remember you did mention a factor already. Now you built upon it, and it's exciting that you were involved in this in 2018. And I think we all know now the difference between those few years is with the advent of AI and new tools at our disposal. Embarking on this road is definitely not still easy, but definitely more facilitated. It's about getting those components together, and like you said, the advent also of machine learning completely changes the game, and that is why now, as just a kind of like a side news, not only that we had our main developer who created this beta V1 version for us. We have onboarded Ala, our new AI dev, just for this part, and we said no, we need more. So we have now onboarded Dimitro, who's a PhD, and he's basically going to be the lead architect on this element. Basically combining nodes, networks, proper reinforcement learning, anomaly detections, all intertwined with sentiment analysis as well, including the price action. And we didn't stop there. Just a little side news and a little bonus for the space is that as of on Saturday, we are officially onboarding two full-time data scientists who are going to be completely focused on reading all that data, extrapolating all that data, and basically putting all that data into work while we journey into the V2. So, if anyone says it's a singular prediction, it's very simple. The journey for this is definitely a long one, but I do believe rewarding, and there's a huge market for it. So here we are on this journey, and I just wanted to tell everyone that on this weekend we're onboarding two more people for that particular segment of our AI predictions, not to mention SA and the TA as well.
Wow, That's amazing. I think you guys are going to really make waves in the space, especially how you guys are positioning yourself with your team and with your tools. And I fully agree that it's the synergy of tools that makes more value in all product suite. So I had a quick question about the bubble maps.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that it was an X bubble maps
Mm-hmm.
and you can show or view what support a specific project is. And unlike other bubble maps that you have from home wallets, etc., you basically can see a project's support and in as a result also the network reach of those followers and support. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. So basically, we have completed our MVP on that, and obviously, it's all trial and error and iterations. Um, so basically, let's say if we take exception, we basically we're playing around with parameters, right? So we've overridden the Twitter API pagination system. So basically, we have access to all that data, and let's say we decided, okay, 1,000 followers would equal one bubble for all users that hold less than 1,000 followers, right? So not to overclutter the data, because if you actually saw the raw file, I probably posted this to the community. You could have a million bubbles, right? I mean thousands of bubbles, because doesn't mean if somebody interacted with exception, that's a few bubbles. But I'm sure there are great CTs that interacted with exception, and then somebody interacted to them. So these are called the indirect links. So we're simplifying this, where basically we say, okay, one PFP, right? So let's say a profile picture of a big CT will be visible only if they have, let's say, minimum 5,000 or 10,000 followers, right? So to give more credibility for the power of their reach. So the bigger accounts, they'll have the PFP. The smaller the accounts, they'll have just like a nice neon colored bubble. So visually we are basically simplifying that and giving precedent to bigger CTs, so users can immediately just see, okay, exception, okay, they're followed by here, okay, I see in the TG now rich apes, gems of ra, and then I saw CRG, and we run our tests on exception, and we already saw basically immediately in a small forecast with 4,000 followers up, who are the big players, let's say, who endorse exception, right? So this was definitely very interesting to see. Also, you have to see that sometimes you have very botted accounts, so you have to account for that as well. So we're adding a little element that says, okay, there's a botted account, but there's no activity, right? So we're adding a little patch into that as well to make sure that that information is not flawed. But yeah, showcasing that visually is very interesting. And just for those people who don't know, Exception will be the first project where we'll be implementing the SA for groups, and Exception is the first one that we will be basically implementing for the Exception community. So I'm looking forward to it. And the most amazing part about Web3 is that we have communities who kind of are part of the development process. I'm sure CRPT can agree on this, that whatever product we do doesn't have to be 100% ideal from the get-go, because the investors are also the people who are advising a lot on progression, what to do, what to change. I love DMs, and all these things that we're gonna develop together or separate. It's just amazing that we have a community to rely on, and that's for me the most important part of everything.
I absolutely agree. And we're very excited to be first or among the first to implement that tool. And I fully agree that the product you can deliver somewhat of a raw product. And like we did with our alpha and beta stage as well, we've had the best feedback during our alpha and beta stage, basically from you.
Exactly. So now let's talk about the exception, because this is what I'm sure everybody wants to hear. Because how
Something
amazing,
work like
how
that. It's
amazing
just,
is what you guys are creating.
but from that feedback, you learn a lot and can improve significantly.
Definitely, definitely, and that's the beauty of Web3, right? I mean, I mean, you're a dev, so you see, I'm sure a lot of people are messaging you, or your other team members always providing feedback. I mean, there are stress. I'm sure there are. I am in one of the groups where there's stress testing, whitelisting, so everybody's basically giving their own input to this, and that's how it can grow, right? No other way.
Exactly, exactly. I think I fully agree. Basically, you're co-creating with your community somewhat. Basically, everybody's helping out build the product as best as they can. What I would use Spectre AI for personally as a tool, would use it when I'm using my own tool to check out sentiment analysis or somewhat pattern predictions or price predictions or gauge a specific project and make predictions that way. I would use that to make my trading decisions in our own tool, and especially when we um, utilize for marketception, for example.
Exactly. I think the this can, let's say if there's news triggered or there is a higher volume spike triggered, and let's say news catches or sentiment catches, it's all part of the catalyst. So I also think it's a perfect segue now to find out if you could tell us now everything that is exception, because it's a phenomenal product, and I'm sure there's a lot of exception community members, but as well onlookers and the Spectre community that maybe don't know or just know a little bit about exception. So I just love to hear what you when you talk about exception. So yeah, tell us more about exception now.
Absolutely. So Exception is a suite of bot tools focused on trading tools that is bringing a convenience and ease of use to the user, and also has a few specific USPs in the product. So we're starting out with a Telegram trader and sniper tool, and similar to what users are already used to with the other tools, but we're bringing in very specific USPs that none other have in the market. So we're really differentiating ourselves with, firstly, our MEV tool. We've built an MEV sandwich bot, and which we are democratizing to the user. A user can snipe and trade tokens through our bot, approve it to our MEV tool, and basically start participating in MEV opportunities on the sell side with their token. We have launched that 2 weeks ago for our beta testing group, and we've so far, I think we've crossed about 33K in profits for beta users on MEV opportunities. So that's an insane utility
That's
comparable
incredible.
to other tools.
I mean, that is
It
that is just to reiterate. I mean, to the people listening, you have your own personal mevbot. I mean, how many times people were saddened or upset by by Jared and all his profits that he's doing by front running or something like that. People will be able actually to have their own personal. I mean, people already have in beta access to their own personal mevbot and generating revenue through that. It's just nothing short of incredible that you guys embarked on this journey to create this, and here we are. You guys got it.
Exactly. We're quite proud of it to have completed that and implemented to our tool. And it's funny that sometimes it seems that comparable to other tools out in the market from a technical perspective. Right now we're in beta and are testing our trader. We're about to roll out our sniper, for example. So sometimes people think that the gap between ourselves and the competitors from a technical perspective is quite large, but um, in fact, it's very little. And I would say from a technical perspective, we're actually more advanced than the competition, more farther ahead, because we have built in these USPs that would take a lot of time for competitors to catch up with that. Whilst for us to catch up with the other tools, the Trader and the Sniper and OmniChain, for example, that's a smaller gap to fill. So I think we're in a very right time with the beta rolling out and going into a public soon. I think that's great timing for user onboarding and be at the early in the early group to use our tool.
No, that is incredible. I mean, in a way, psychologically speaking, I remember when I first heard about exception. Exception is if you allow me in a psychological way to kind of go, exception is everything that I feared in the everything I kind of feared in the, I don't know, Dex world, right? Being meved, there's people are sniping, this, that, everything that I kind of like a passive trader who was more like Uniswap old school. When I started reading into exception and I started finding about exception, it literally that whole ensemble, that suite of bot tools that you have, made me a part of it. Meaning, my kind of my fear for crypto lowered in a way. I'm just saying that psychologically, like you guys have provided an immersive experience and an incredible set of tools for people that usually kind of fear the whole meving or sniping, or you hear about these things, and now you've basically created a project that makes everyone a part of it, and they can literally sleep and be a part of that market. And that's what I kind of on a psychological level felt, because I'm FYI to everyone here, I'm also a holder of exception long before I even spoken to SirPT, by the way. um, I'm a personal holder on the project, and yeah, everything that I feared in this market, kind of, now I feel like I'm a part of it, and I'm in control. So that's, psychology speaking, my point of view on what you guys have delivered.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for that perspective right there. And I agree. And I feel that these tools need to be democratized to the users and everybody level the playing field for everybody. Now, our second USP is a marketception tool, basically providing the opportunity for users to auto DCA on their positions, in and out of their position, but also for projects, it's a very powerful tool to automate their either token buybacks or scaling out if they want to, and offering a market making tool for projects that's very cost efficient, because I'm sure everybody can imagine that market making is a very costly business,
Hmm.
and we've made it so to put it in the hands of projects so they can set it up themselves and utilize it on their own token to basically perform buys and sells on their chart.
Yes, that's amazing, and I think that's also a perfect segue to let's say let people know we already announced this, but Exception will be the market maker for Spectra. I don't know, maybe we're the second or third project. I'm not sure. I think if I'm not wrong, you have Guardian already on your roster for market making, and Spectra is one of the few next ones in the pipeline for it, right?
Exactly, exactly.
So. Mhm.
So please go
Yeah,
ahead.
so basically, yeah, if you could now tell us more about the marketception and how, let's say, it would, as an example, using Spectre, or how it went with Guardian as a first buy zone, sell zones, just so the community knows exactly how marketception works.
Absolutely. So marketception has a few metrics or parameters that we can set, um, and basically it revolves around buy zones and sell zones. If you look at the chart, a project can decide on what specific below what specific price they would like to start triggering buys, and they can even stagger those buy zones to basically some type of martingale or something like that to change parameters, and also set sell zones to either if they want to scale out of certain positions at a certain level. And that's a good thing to do, because basically the capital that a project has can be recycled easily to basically make it very more efficient and utilize that capital for a longer duration on market the chart, which benefits the users. Um,
Absolutely.
and it would be you can set certain intervals in what intervals you want to trigger your buys. You can either set it as exact or a random number between I would say, let's say mention an arbitrary number between 10 and 40 minutes, so that there's a randomization in there, which basically helps a little bit with potentially front running or become a little less predictable
Hmm.
in that sense. And You can set the amount you want to spend, of course, some type of budget, either a maximum, hard maximum amount, or, for example, X amount of ETH per 6 hours. So there's a lot of variety and
Wow.
flexibility in how to set up these tools.
That is actually incredible, and nonetheless, I mean, it would also offer a lot of chart protection because we're all very familiar. If I'm not stepping out here, the concept of a lot of holders just panic nuking, let's say, their supply, and a lot of people actually I've seen firsthand a lot of novice traders basically having a lot of profit, but they don't understand some things like price impact, for instance, right? And if you basically use exception, you can basically scale out your positions, which is healthy for the chart. B, it doesn't, you don't, let's say, I don't know if there's price impact of 15% happens a lot, especially on low liquidity pools. So people can actually scale out their positions or re-enter their positions in a completely more kind of safe way, and also respecting the chart, and with that, the community, everybody who's grinding on it. So this kind of tool, definitely, in my head, it's a game changer. So definitely, and you actually get more value for your money because I've seen, even when I was a novice and I would just, I don't know, at some point sell some supply, I didn't realize why did I get less than I thought initially, and something called price impact. So if you scale out, it's definitely a good way to do it.
Exactly, and that's what it's being used for by some of our users as well, because it's a very powerful tool to use it that way. Um, so if we can transition into setting it up
So
purpose, we would
it
through
broke
that
off there for a second.
we would set it up for Spectre.
Perfect. So just for people to know, we have we are powering the marketception with some symbolic amount of ETH to run some tests. So just get us through the process.
Exactly. So as we go through this process, the screen will be recorded and will be posted afterwards, so people can check it out how that process works. So first of all, we when you go into our exception bot, you go to a marketception and then set up a new market. And when you want to set up a new market, you need to provide the token address, which is the Spectre token address right now. So if we paste the Spectre token address, we get a menu that requests a choice of what parameters we want to set. So let's start out with first checking the current price, which is in the main menu. The current price at this particular moment is 60, 68, 67 cents in dollar and 0.0017 ETH. You see taxes on the token, and you also see there are no zones at this moment set up. So if we set up the first buy zone, let's set up a price for the buy zone. You can choose different options here. So let's set first a price in which the buy zone we want to set. You can either set it in USD or you can set it in ETH. So if we look at the current price, what would be in your opinion, a good buy zone to set for this demonstration?
So if the price is 67 cents, I mean, definitely, let's say, something below the 65 cent region, but maybe for the benefit of the showcasing, we can set up one now as in this current price point, just for the sake of the thing. Can we do that, or do we set up something, let's say, below 6.5?
Yeah, so it normally depends a little bit on your chart and if you want to trigger buys right away or if you want it to prepare it a little bit when the price drops to a specific floor. But I think for demonstration purposes, perhaps we can say, oh, let's right now
Yeah,
set a price that is above current price point, so trigger a transaction
it's definitely
to
gonna make the
showcase.
video that you're screen recording right now more fruitful. So let's go for now.
Absolutely. So let's go for 69 cents, for example, and we put in the price of 69 cents, which is safe, and then we can determine a token amount. And token amount is either an exact amount in or a range amount. And I normally would say that a range amount is better, which was I mentioned before a random range between two price points, and it randomizes the size, which I personally like most. So let's set a range amount of the amount, and we can either do that in Spectre token or in ETH. And I would say ETH size range amount would be the easiest right now. And normally, I would say for demonstration purposes, but it's up to you. Obviously, I would say the range about let's start with between uh, zero point 0.2 and 0.25 ETH or something.
Yeah, let's do it.
So let's set that range amount, and we can set the interval as well. So let's decide on an interval. We can, for interval, we can also set an exact interval in minutes or a range amount of interval as well. So I would suggest to set a range interval, and perhaps we can set that between, for demonstration purposes, between 15 and 45 minutes, for example.
All right, wonderful. Let's do it. So you're gonna set up now. If I've just to understand, 0.69 cents. So the buy will start triggering if there's another sell before that, right?
The buy triggers if when I click save later, we read every block on the blockchain on our node, and we calculate the price. And if the price is below 69 cents, it triggers a buy.
Perfect. Let's do that.
All right, and we have the option for multi-wallet. Right now, we have one wallet set for Spectre, but there's an option to do multi-wallet as well. You can select from which wallet you want to
Great.
use. You can also you select multiple, so there's a randomization process going on.
Great, great. So let's say now I'm just looking at the chart. There was a little sell, so it's still below 0.69. So that is gonna catch it, right? Nonetheless.
Yes, yes, exactly. All right. So we can save, and then we go back to the main menu. Right now, we can also set a specific sell zone, but let's leave that for another
Mhm.
time. So we just have the buy zone. Right here, we can also set a default interval if you don't want to set intervals for your specific buy and sell zones. And the important one is max token amount. The max token amount is basically the budget you give to the bot.
Okay.
And you can either set an exact amount you can allow to spend, or an interval max amount, for which it says, oh, X amount of ETH per 3 hours or per 6 hours or
That
whatever.
is actually mind blowing. I mean, once adoption comes and more people start understanding this thoroughly, how people actually can just navigate this market is it's limitless to me. It's incredible.
Absolutely, I fully agree. So let's set for this demonstration, let's set an exact amount, and let's set it at, because our buy zone or buy is between zero point 0.2 and 0.25 ETH, let's say for half an ETH, for example. So we trigger a buy for sure, so we can showcase it, and then we can set up further later on the Spectre accounts. So let's set an amount of half an ETH right here, so we trigger and buy.
Perfect.
And after that, we're all set. So we can basically press the save button, and it would trigger the or set up the marketception and a way to trigger a buy.
Incredible.
So meanwhile, while I'm doing all this, this is basically, I believe the I just went through.
The 0.22.
Yeah, it's a 0.2202 ETH buy.
Perfect. So now,
I believe
basically,
that's
people, if
the,
you guys can
yeah.
look at if anybody here is actually our mods are welcoming new holder, and that is actually this is the first marketception buy on Spectra. So you are having a partnership here in full effect, showcased. That 0.22 buy has been a marketception market making tool in action, right? So for people to understand as well about market making is yes, it buys and yes, it sells. Now, I'm sure a lot of people wonder, okay, but why why the little cells would ensue? And I think, if correct me if I'm wrong here, but market making, the benefit of market making here is that it's healthy, it's safe in a way, it's incremental, and most predominantly, the key factor for it is that volume follows volume. So people have to understand the more volume ensues, the more it attracts more buyers, right? And I think everybody has seen, everybody talks about yes, volume, and this is what market making does. This is what exception will do for Spectra, meaning that the more volume it triggers compiled with other buys and sells. Will attract a lot more buyers ultimately because volume, especially in the DEX world, attracts a lot of different bots that trigger those anomalies. People look at volume, and if the volume starts uptrending, people are more likely to make their investments because yeah, volume follows volume. So am I right on that theory, Sir PT?
Absolutely. You're completely right. And I think in addition to that, that volume follows volume. If you can basically use your treasury to perform strategic buys and sells on your chart, it really helps as a marketing tool as well, because a lot of people value a certain product based on the token price or the chart, etc. But there could be a very useful tool or very useful, the greatest product. But if the chart is looking very bad, a lot of people will move, look to the different tool. So it's very useful for that as well, because basically you're graded based on your chart before people might start looking further into your tools and products.
Absolutely. I think this is what we would call chart marketing without actual hands-on human to human peer to peer marketing. This we could actually coin that as chart marketing in a way where in its almost subliminal level, that volume will attract people and then start engaging more. So I completely agree with that, with that thesis on that. Definitely.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think if we went through this specific process right now, and we now set up a certain price that's to trigger the buy, for example. But um, if you want to set buy zones and sell zones and really have a hard time deciding what are the best buy and sell zones, or at least statistically speaking, would be a very likely good buy and sell zone, that's pretty hard to determine.
Hmm.
That's why I mentioned that I would really like to use a Spectre for setting up my buy and sell zones on my market option. I think there's very powerful synergy for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, and that's a very good point. And as we kind of propel towards slowly towards our journey towards V2, and definitely, because upward downward I think would be more than good enough for market, I mean, in exception to kind of implement that. And of course a direct market cap hit is a different story, right? So I always say in my spaces that if somebody tells you that you have 100% accurate AI predictions, it's almost virtually impossible, because especially in micro caps, you have wallet holders who have certain supply, and sometimes especially in a very low market caps. Very low market caps, a single wallet can alter a lot of things happening. That is why we're developing other extra tools to facilitate that. But with AI predictions and our algo already going, between the 60-80% ranges on upward downward. I'm not saying direct market cap hit. That's already good. And if you get as close as you can get to the sun, in that kind of analogy, you're definitely hitting the right strides. And we know with our new data scientist onboarded, Dimitro as our AI architectural engineer, Ala and everyone, the graphing of what we're going to be embarking on now, and we already embarking on, definitely intertwined with the technology of exception, could be game changer, right? And not to only mention, also there is a sentiment analysis ultra feature that we are thinking about, which would involve definitely exceptions technology down in the pipeline. So for everyone listening, there is another ultra function in the idea stage, and it cannot happen without the use case of exception. So look forward to that down the line. But a combination of AI predictions with the exception technology, to me, it just bodes exceptionally well for the future.
Oh, that was a nice pun right there in the end. And I think there was some alpha leak in there as well.
Yeah,
I think that's great. I think we gel quite well. We can create a lot of synergy, and we both have similar visions for the market. I think it would be great because we're on for 45 minutes if we do like a very short option for people to ask a question real quick.
absolutely. So
And otherwise, if there are no questions, we could, yeah.
yeah, so if there are any questions, you guys can hit request, and we'll be able to. I've seen two at the beginning, but we had to cover the show. So if there are any questions, I'm just gonna skim through our Telegram comments if there are any, just in case. Um, but yeah, if there are any questions, then please don't be shy. We're here to answer any questions you guys have. I'm just gonna skim through the Telegram for a second. Well, for now, I see a lot of compliments about the spaces. um, Somebody said about seeing in the Spectra Telegram to see can they see the demo. So Sir PT said that after the spaces will end, the showcase of what he has been basically doing while speaking will be posted later. So later, Exception will probably post this live demo, and we will showcase this at the Telegram as well. Just to answer that question, it was recorded.
Yeah, it was recorded. It needed a very minor edits, which are done actually right now. So either we will make it with the edits to post it during the spaces, or after we close off, it will be posted.
There you go. So yeah, so I didn't see any specific questions other than a lot of happiness.
Yeah, from our side as well. I think there are no specific questions right now, and there are after we close off the spaces. Feel free to hop in either Spectre's or Accept's Telegram and push some questions through, and there will be either moderators or Sonny or myself or other team members happy to answer them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just to maybe kind of close off from my side, I really do invite people, especially, I'm just talking about my own experience here. This market is a very, very specific, crazy, for lack of a better word, space. And if you would like to have your own mevbot or, snipe everything, Exception is literally providing a suite of tools that changes the game for you. I've seen firsthand in the private groups of Exception on whitelist groups the sheer amount of excitement it generates. So if you give yourself some time to fully focus on what Exception delivers, you could be introduced to a very interesting new world that, in my honest opinion, would change the way you view trading, and it would actually protect you in a lot of ways. So for my personal side, I definitely invite everyone to check out Exception and what it delivers, because it does solve a lot of momentum for you in this market, right? It has a set of tools that changes the game, and that is why I said at the forefront of, I mean, at the beginning of these spaces, that exception is something exceptional. And the the where this is going, where this project is going, not only obviously on price action, because I'm more than confident that this is a game changer, but how it helps everybody else. There's nothing else I can say other than please check it out, give yourself a research, try out the tools, because it's formidable.
Thank you very much, Sunny. Very much appreciated. And same applies for Spectra, of course. I can't wait to get my hands on the tools that you guys are building, and I will be one of the first in lines to actually use it and utilize it in my training experience and decision making process. So I'd like to extend the same suggestion to head to Spectra and check it out and really dive deep into what you guys are building, because that's uh, likewise really a game changer and will help a lot of people in their trading process and decision making.
Thank you so much, Sir Pete. Thank you so much. Thank you. So,
Awesome.
seeing by I think a lot of positive feedback around, but no questions. So I think we're good, and we'll follow up with the live demo recording later on once you guys give it an edit. And yeah, when you guys if you have any questions about Exception or Spectra, reach out to our mods, to us directly in DMs. We're always here. Long live this partnership, and yeah, like we said before, there's a little alpha here. If a little alpha drops for not only a strategic and integration partnership right now, but also in the future. So look out for that.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you everybody for joining. We really appreciate your the time you spent on our spaces listening to Spectra and Exception and what we're all about and how we integrate and up. Thanks so much for joining, and see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Mavic, baby.